following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
Oh, baby. Should Arshdeep Bains play on the Canucks top line with Pettersson and Lindholm? More on that next year on Locked On Canucks.
My guy loves Surrey, man. That West Coast bias, man. The future lives here.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
A happy hump day, and welcome to another episode of Locked On Canucks. My name is Trevor Beggs, co-host of Locked On Canucks, and also a Canucks writer for Daily Hive Vancouver. Before we dive into today's episode, with the Surrey bias coming on strong, we got to thank you for tuning in to Locked On Canucks, because it is your team every day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. If you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe or follow us for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. I also got to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets if your best bet of $5 or more wins. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon today to get started. On today's episode, I've been waiting to lead with Arshdeep Bains for a while because, Kyle and I, as you might know, we're both the pride of Surrey, but Arshdeep Bains is taking Surrey to another level. So we got to talk about Arshdeep Bains, his All-Star game performance, but more importantly, when's this guy coming up to the Vancouver Canucks? Could it be this season? And if he does come up, where would he slot into the lineup? Or is it best just to let him keep marinating fine steak down to the AHL level? Arshdeep Bains talk in the first segment. Second segment, we want to talk about who's the Canucks' first line. There was an article coming up from The Athletic ranking top lines in the NHL, and they had JT Miller's line as the Canucks' top line. So we'll dig into that, where both those lines rank among the NHL's best. And then finally, ending off the show with Thatcher Demko, Snatcher Demko chasing a franchise record. Can he do it? Which other goalies did he just pass on the list? But before we get to all that, let me introduce my co-host. He's the second best guy in Surrey, Kyle Bowen.
Yeah.
How you doing, brother?
Second best brown dude from Surrey. You know what? I always wanted the title, not going to lie, but there's no way I'm beating Arshdeep Bains, okay? For real. When he makes his debut for the Vancouver Canucks, if all goes well and he becomes a full-time NHLer, come on, nobody's taking that title away from him. From Surrey to Rogers Arena, living the dream. That's just the truth. Anyways, Kyle Bowen, Trevor Beggs, here on Locked On Canucks. We actually got somebody watching who met Trevor during his time at Game Over with Clay, okay? Welcome to the program. Welcome to Locked On Canucks, home of the West Coast bias. It takes place here at the Don't Doze Art Lab. We do a lot for the West Coast, okay? I think the only things we do is for the West Coast. We're full of that West Coast bias. Speaking of which, I was thinking about Arshdeep Bains a lot on my drive over here, and you used the term marinating, right? Did the Canucks still want to keep him down there and let him reach his full potential in the AHL before they bring him up, aka don't bring him up this year? Maybe. Or maybe they're not going to call him up because they want him to earn it even more. Like it's some psychology type of treatment towards the standard and other players trying to make the big club. Because the last time I checked, this is a first place hockey team. This is a team with cup dreams and cup goals. So it's really hard to make the Vancouver Canucks. I could see the Vancouver Canucks, again, not bringing up Arshdeep Bains, being fairly healthy. They don't have to do so, and it kind of pushes Arshdeep Bains to take his game to the next level during the offseason. That's where my mind is at.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see, I think that at some point the Canucks are going to end up calling up another forward, right? They just sent Linus Karlsson back down to the minors. They only have 12 forwards on the active roster right now. So even if some guy just needs a maintenance day or a game off, to me, it makes sense to bring up Arshdeep, He is waivers exempt. I think he's now paid his dues. He's had over 100 AHL games of AHL experience. He's proven that he is the best player on that team right now. So like you said, Kyle, if these Vancouver Canucks are trying to win games, push for a Stanley Cup, it makes sense to get Arshdeep into the lineup. I think last season they made the right call by just keeping him down there, letting him figure things out a bit more. It was his first full season in the AHL. But now it's getting to the point where he is the best option in the AHL. And shout out to HMD fangirl there for, recognizing me for being on Clay's show. Canuck Clay is a beauty. We had him on our show here a couple months back. If everydayers would be aware of that. She says call up Podkolzin over Bains. Now, I'll say straight up from the AHL games I've watched, Bains has been better. He's been better. Like Podkolzin is more of a north-south player, which Tocchet likes. And he's more of a goal scorer than Bains, but overall Bains is a better 200-foot, more cerebral player, which is saying something because Podkolzin, I think, was really good in his rookie season for the Canucks. But again, just based on what I've seen in the AHL this season, I would say that Bains is the better option for this team right now. Kyle, do you have a take on that? When it comes to Arshdeep and Podkolzin, who would you rather see play games with this Canucks team? Who deserves that call up more?
Dude, okay, you know what? Okay, I think Arshdeep deserves it. And again, the Surrey bias full in effect. I want this guy playing a game at Rogers Arena. I just want to see the noise, okay? I want to see that experience. As a brown dude playing ball hockey all his life, that was the ultimate goal, and that was to make the Vancouver Canucks. You know how they say dreams come true? No, they don't. But I can live, what's the word? Vicariously? I was going to say vicariously. Okay, yeah, that's the word. Through Arshdeep Bains, okay? Anyways, to answer your question, I wouldn't be surprised if it's the other way around. Again, what if they're trying to run some sort of psychology gauntlet on a guy like Arshdeep Bains? Like, yeah, you're playing well, but there's still a lot of room to improve. And there's still another level to your fitness. You know what I'm saying? And next season, when a lot of these UFAs don't come back, because I can easily see this guy replace a Lafferty in his first season with the Canucks, maybe that's when he gets the call up and not this season. That being said, man, that's being rude. Come on, man. Kyle, I'm from Surrey. I should be dreaming of this moment right now. Again, the coolest brown guy to ever do it, Arshdeep Bains, possibly going to claim that title and possibly going to change the narrative of Surrey, man. Last time I checked, if you search up brown dudes from Surrey on the internet, you get something else, man. You get Surrey's infamous, okay? And Arshdeep Bains can make it more famous, aka more positive. But let's not put all that pressure on him. Let's just allow him to do his thing and play hockey. On that note, I gotta say, if I'm gonna throw those accolades out, like, oh, this guy's the Punjabi Prince in Surrey zone and the homegrown talent, and he's gonna change the narrative of Surrey, blah blah blah. I think he can handle it. You know why? Because this guy's on another level of poise. This guy's on another level of getting it. Okay, he's humble, he's hardworking, he's intelligent, he's cerebral, and he clearly gets better year in and year out. Like, to see him obviously take a step in year 5 of his junior career was mind-blowing, right? Like, holy crap, how'd you do that? But I think it's more impressive to see what he's done from year 1 in the AHL, where he was really good, to year 2, where he's even been better. And that's going to turn to being a real, true pro. It's just the truth.
Yeah, and he's the play driver down there for the Canucks, for the Abbotsford Canucks. Like, to me, it doesn't matter what line he's been on. Like, he's the guy driving the bus, driving the offense. And when I look at a guy like Podkolzin, like, here's a stat to throw at you. And again, take from it what you will. But Arshdeep Bains, he leads the Abbotsford Canucks in points, right? He has 40 points in 40 games. Obviously, AHL All-Star Game MVP. But those 40 points is 8th among AHL skaters. Look at a guy like Podkolzin. Podkolzin has more goals. He has 13 goals, but has 26 points in 35 games. You know who has the exact same stat line as Podkolzin of 35 games played, 13 goals, 26 points? Max Sasson. Okay? Vasily Podkolzin and Max Sasson have the exact same stat line. And Max Sasson's had a good AHL season, but again, we're talking about a guy who was playing college hockey a year ago, right? So to me, like, I'd still like to see more from Podkolzin before he's getting that opportunity up in the NHL. To me, like, Bains has absolutely deserved the call up. And I want to see him play some games this season, to be honest.
Wow, you want to see it this season? Hey, I want to see it too. I just don't. I think I'm like hesitant in putting that out in the air because that means somebody's getting hurt. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe it's just even a maintenance day though. Like, they got 12 forwards on the roster right now. Unless Field Giuseppe.
What is this, basketball? What is this, basketball? Maintenance days? What, Trevor? You're getting soft on me? Come on, man. Are you serious? Maintenance days? Take the day off, man. Rest up. I don't know about that. I know we saw it with Noah Juleson and Ian Cole, but I feel as if that was more because a guy like Noah Juleson was proving that he was getting it done in the AHL, and they kind of had to reward his growth within the season. I don't think the Canucks are going out of the way to call up the AHL MVP just so Lafferty can get a break, or like who is it outside of Lafferty? It's Lafferty or Niels Höglander. If nobody gets hurt, to get a break.
Well, I think Niels Amon could be an option too, right? Like, you move Pia Suter down to 4th line center, right? So I think there's flexibility. The Canucks have quite a few players who can play wing and center. So Yeah, it's probably Lafferty or Amon. But again, when I say maintenance, I don't necessarily mean like, oh, like give the guy a day off, he's worked hard. Like maybe there's just like a lingering injury where he could play through it, but it makes sense just to bring up a guy like Arshdeep, see what he can do.
That's a good Canadian answer right there. Okay, Trevor, I was concerned about y'all for real. Straight up, dude.
And here's the other thing too. Like I'm looking at that March schedule where the Canucks play 9 home games in a row, which is a staggering amount of home games. I can't remember a home game.
No, he's getting called up. He's getting called up.
Right?
Yeah.
That's an easy time to call up a guy if there's someone on the team going through something, right? Because the team's going to be home for almost the entire month of March.
Mm-hmm.
Let him drive down Highway 1 westbound, over the Port Mann Bridge, and get him to Rogers Arena, man. Arshdeep Bains. I'm saying it, man. He's playing NHL games.
I'm 100% confident that a land developer of Punjabi origin will order a helicopter to pick up Arshdeep Bains and fly him to Rogers Arena, okay? That's going to be a big deal when he makes his debut. But more noticeably, it's going to be an even bigger deal when he becomes a full-time NHLer. I don't think this is like a gimmick. I don't think this is let's give the nod to the hometown talent and make the community happy. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no moral victories here to be played when inserting Arshdeep Bains in the lineup. I think there's more than a perfect chance that this guy becomes a full-time NHL. And that's because, again, look at the way he talks. He's all hockey. He's wired. You know who else is wired? Quinn Hughes. I'm not comparing the players, but he kind of fits into that mold. Like, you got to care about hockey and hockey only. And B, bro, when you see a guy continue to get better and better every season at that age, it's a testament to what's the word? Manifestation. Like, he's on path to being an NHL. Like, it's going to happen. You can't doubt this guy. You can't doubt this guy. Again, we could have seen him play at the same level, right? Play at the same level this season compared to last year in the AHL, and that would have been fine. It would have been good enough. But clearly good enough is not good enough for Arshdeep Bains. Okay, let's get to the comments before we get to the other side. And I do want to ask Trevor one more question on Arshdeep Bains, and maybe you can help us out on this as well. Okay, let us know who you think compares to the way Arshdeep Bains play. Okay, I'm going to give Trevor like 1 minute to think about it. But again, let's get to the comments. Mr. Whale, one of the favorites on the program, he says Surrey needs its own NHL team. Yo, Surrey needs places to hang out. It really does. Like, where are you hanging out? The Superstore parking lot with a double-double in your hands? For real, can Surrey get places to hang out? Some cool places? Maybe Arshdeep Bains is the needle pusher in the city, okay? Surrey gets a lot cooler. With them, we have Jay again. He's turning into one of my favorite fans, okay? He's saying Surrey's future started rough with Prab Rye a decade ago. Prab Rye, Arshdeep Bains on a different level, okay? These kids are different these days. It's just the truth. Okay? Okay, you know what? I got 2 questions for you, okay? And give them quick. Give the answers quick. A, who compares to Arshdeep Bains? Like, who's comparable? And B, bro, I got to say it, right? The Canucks are all in. He's the AHL MVP. Is he a trade chip? Are you selling high on Arshdeep Bains to push this team over the top? Take the floor.
Okay, for comparable, honestly, there wasn't anyone who came to my head off the top, but I'm going to throw out one name, and it's Igor Sharangovich from Calgary. You might not know much about Sharangovich. He was part of that Toffoli trade, was drafted by the Devils. He is just a guy who can play anywhere in your lineup, from first line to fourth line. He's versatile, has killed penalties, has some good hands. I think Sharangovich probably has a bit more speed than Arshdeep Bains, but I would say Igor Sharangovich is the guy that came to my mind first and foremost. Now, the only main difference is Sharangovich is mainly a winger but can play center, whereas Bains, I've never seen him play center. But that's kind of stylistically is the guy who came to mind for me. And is he a trade chip? Potentially. I don't think so, because I think the Canucks might be aware of the PR hit, but like, hey, it's about winning the cup. It's not necessarily about winning the PR game. They obviously didn't care about winning the PR game last year in terms of making tough decisions. So,
bro, you know, the old regime,
for a guy who's like a 23-year-old undrafted NHLer, like, I don't think it's gonna be a crazy high value on him, but who knows?
You know who would have called him up last year for that moral victory? Remember how the Canucks always sucked and there was always like a college free agent coming through just to save the day? Whether it was like Brock Besser to Quinn Hughes to like all the other guys, you know, that Benning would call up just to make us feel better about the future. Again, if Jim Benning was the GM last year, Arshdeep Bains would have played 40 games. That's just the truth, okay? Shout out to JS for the super chat. Again, he always keeps the super chats really simple. It's never about Trevor and I. And to be honest, like, sometimes it's not even about the fan. Like, it's the Canucks are doing the most right now. The Canucks are doing the most. One love to the Vancouver Canucks. And as JS says, go Canucks, go. I did have one other note on Arshdeep Bains, but I'm going to let you do your thing. Shout out the sponsor. And maybe that'll give me time to remember what I wanted to say.
All right. Well, Kyle hits his head against that beautiful Don't Doze logo in the background. I'm going to shout out FanDuel. Happy Super Bowl to all those who celebrate from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. If you're like me, Super Bowl Sunday is all about scoring the best seat on the couch, grabbing your favorite football snacks, and placing some super bets. I just called my mom today because it was her birthday. Happy birthday, Mom. I told her to come over for Super Bowl, said I wanted to make some bacon wrap pickles, and I think she almost hung up on me. She wasn't a fan of bacon wrap pickles. So,
come on, man.
Anyways, man, I might have gotten rejected by my mom, but that's okay because I know I'm going to win a few bucks placing some bets on FanDuel, okay? Not only can you bet on who will win Super Bowl 58 on FanDuel, but FanDuel also has bets for which players will score a touchdown, how many points will be scored, and so much more. New customers join today and they'll get $200 in bonus bets if your first bet of $5 or more wins. Just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to sign up. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
Okay, we back on this episode of Locked On Canucks titled The Vancouver Canucks Are Moving to Surrey next season. Bro, they may move to Surrey in June. Okay, Scott Road is going to be something else for real. And Scott Road really sets the standard of how this team should celebrate playoff success moving forward, okay? Let's not do it how they do it in downtown Vancouver. Everyone talks ish about Surrey, right? Everyone talks ish about Surrey. I don't want to go to Surrey. Oh, you're gonna get hurt over there, right? A pretty infamous place, bro. Based on what I've seen on the footage, more people get hurt in Vancouver or more destruction happens in Vancouver, okay? Let Surrey be the standard. We celebrate responsibly in Surrey. One love to Surrey. Hey, speaking of the streets, JS, man, letting us know that he's already seen a Canucks car flag. And I don't think he's lying, man. A, because JS is loyal, and B, I've seen it too. Yesterday, I was driving to Maple Ridge, and somebody had an old school, like, I'll show people, like, that old logo. Like, they had a car flag from the West Coast Express logo, this one. And that made my heart warm up. Did you see a car flag too already?
Yeah, I've seen like 3 or 4 to be honest with you.
What?
Yeah.
Bring out the car flags. Bring out the car flags. If you have the car flags, bring them out now. It's not celebrating early. It's not that. It's about the West Coast bias, man. F the ops. F everyone else. It's about us. Okay, for real. Elston Gunn, the vibes are immaculate, boys. Yes, they are. Trevor, you're going to be talking about the first line very soon. But before I do that, or before you do that, I want to bring this up, okay? Arshdeep Bains, a guy that Casey doesn't want the Canucks using as a trade chip, right? Doesn't want that. He's a guy that also reminds me a little bit like Pius Suter and Teddy Bluger. I think they're more offensive upside, but I think when he gets inserted into the lineup as an NHLer, it's going to be in the bottom 6, and his role is just going to have to be, being intense, being cerebral, being smart. And those two players, one who may be replaceable. I'm not saying that, Arshdeep Bains is going to fill Teddy Bluger's shoes because they play different positions. But, man, I kind of see similarities early on if that transition does happen to being an NHL player for Arshdeep Bains.
Yeah, I think that's actually, pretty strong comparable. And one thing to say about Bluger, too, is, Bluger had about 3 full seasons in the AHL before he, came to the Vancouver or the Pittsburgh Penguins, I should say. So at the same age in the AHL, Bluger was around 0.7 points per game, whereas Arshdeep Bains is a point per game player in the AHL on the power play, killing penalties. Again, the knock is that he doesn't play center like Bluger does, so he doesn't have that versatility. But in general, I see Bains as a more skilled version of Teddy Bluger. And Bluger has said in interviews too, like he was an offensive guy all throughout his high school, college career, and he goes to the AHL and he's got to learn to be more of a defensive guy. Bains has gone through that same transition. So yeah, actually, I think that's not a bad comparable at all, Kyle.
Dude, I'm a smart guy. I'm a smart Hindu from Surrey, okay? Anyways, let's talk about the top line for the Vancouver Canucks. Does it matter if one of these lines gets named or gets the title as the number 1 line for the Vancouver Canucks, right? Is it Pettersson, Mikheyev, and Lindholm? Is it Besser, Miller, and whoever is the wing on that line? I don't think so. In fact, I'll say this, man. The top line for the Vancouver Canucks 5-on-5, again, is Teddy Bluger, Connor Garland, and Dakota Joshua. Anyways, Trevor, talk about this.
That's funny. I was just about to ask you who do you like? Yeah, sure, it doesn't matter, but who do you think is the top line on the Canucks? I always have considered it the Pettersson line, but based on ice time, it's the JT Miller line, right? And I think part of that this season in particular is that the coach or Rick Tocchet just has more trust in JT Miller and Brock Besser as a tandem, right? Didn't have a lot of trust in Kuzmenko and McCabe with Pettersson. I think Pettersson was kind of carrying that on his own. And that's kind of why I've had Pettersson as the Canucks MVP, is because he's doing so much with line mates that have been kind of subpar for most of the season. But JT Miller, that line in general, they were kind of ranked as the sixth best line in terms of goal differential, the sixth best first line in the league, I should say. Now, the fancy stats aren't kind to them, mainly because they score a lot of goals, but they're capitalizing on their chances. And, the goaltending is bailing them out a bit at even strength. But in general, I think you and I both said it time and time again, every dayers know that the JT Miller line has been better than the analytics suggest. I think that line has done a really good job of shutting down the opposition's top lines. I don't really care what the fans say, to be honest. I mean, they're going up against the top lines on an everyday basis, but there are limiting chances to an extent. They're outscoring the other team's top line. And look at JT Miller, man. He's on pace for like over 110 points still. Like, it's freaking unbelievable.
Damn. Still on pace for 110 points. The season is moving so quickly, and I think I've already transitioned myself out of honing in on individual statistics outside of Quinn Hughes, because I still think he has a chance to win the MVP for real in a world if he gets like 105 to 110 points, boom, bam. But and this is mainly because I've kind of put my attention towards the cup, right? Team success over individual success. But talking about the lines in general, especially those top two lines, bro, I'll say it from the jump. Again, I've watched 49 of those 50 games. There hasn't been a lot of domination offensively with flash for both those lines. Like, they're efficient. They're not giving up much as well, but I don't see this insane amount of chemistry, okay? And the only time we saw that within that top six is when the Lotto line was together in the East Coast. Now, the Canucks, for them to go over the top and really kick it into gear, like, maybe they could win using this formula, right? Just being efficient and playing really good defense and limiting chances and blah, blah, blah. They could still do it, but what will really take them over the top is when there is one of those lines that becomes dynamic 5-on-5. And honestly speaking, I think we've seen a lot of Besser and Miller, and they're doing their thing. They're a really solid line. They're a hard line to play against as well. But I don't really see the flash / the chemistry being there when it comes to being an elite offensive duo. But I do think there's a chance of Lindholm and Pettersson being that. And that's the huge X factor now for the Vancouver Canucks moving forward. If those two get chemistry, again, Pettersson, Pettersson, RFA, Elias, Lindholm, UFA, they got a lot to play for. They got a lot to prove. Watch out, NHL.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the second point to what I was going to say, right? JT Miller, that line, ice time wise, has been the Canucks' top line so far this season. But you look at last night in particular. If last night, again, one game, if it's a precursor, the Pettersson Lindholm line is about to become the Canucks' top line. I mean, that line had the most shifts at even strength among all Canucks lines last night. They led all Canucks lines in ice time.
Yeah.
And
Pettersson was bad yesterday
well.
too. Like, Pettersson was like they played okay. I think Pettersson had like 2 or 3 turnovers. Like, he wasn't on point. Again, first game back after the All-Star break. Blah blah blah. There's still a lot of room to improve. And again, for us to see that dynamic nature between them, and seeing improvement in Mikheyev's game, there's something that could be brewing there that we haven't seen yet. It's like Lotto line light, possibly. You know what I'm saying? Possibly.
Yeah.
And that's dangerous for the Vancouver Canucks. And anything else you want to say in regards to the top line?
No, let's cut to break. Maybe let us know in the comments, who is the Canucks top line? Do you consider it the Miller line, or do you consider it the Pettersson line?
It's the Garland line,
so much to talk about.
It's the Garland line, bro. Like, 5-on-5, it's been that line. I know you're gonna say it too. I know it ain't as sexy, but like, Pettersson and whoever he's played with versus Miller and whoever he's played with have not generated that many chances 5-on-5 compared to that third line. And that's crazy to say. It really is, but that is the damn truth.
Yeah, there you go. Let's cut to the other side. Okay, Thatcher Demko. We talked a lot about MVPs. Thatcher Demko's in that conversation. He could set a Canucks franchise record during his next start. Before we talk about that, I got a shout out indeed. We're driven by the search for better. But when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. And Indeed doesn't just help you hire faster. 93% of employers agree Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites, according to a recent Indeed survey. One of the things I love about Indeed is that they're quick, okay? Just like I'm quick in the sack, baby.
Whoa.
Indeed, they leverage over 140 million qualifications. Yeah, no need to talk about that any longer. 140 million qualifications and preferences every day. Indeed's matching engine is constantly learning from your preferences, so the more you use Indeed, the better it gets. Guess what? Listeners of the show, you will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/lockedon. Just go to Indeed.com/lockedon right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this very podcast. Locked On Canucks, baby. That is Indeed.com/lockedon. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
We back on Locked On Canucks. My name is Kyle Bowen. That right there is Trevor Beggs. One love to the Locked On Podcast Network, and even more love to the Don't Doze Art Lab for providing that West Coast bias day in and day out. If you do like the show, subscribe, hit the like button. It does really help us out a lot. Valentine's Day next week, I believe. Okay, so Trevor and I have a lot of work to do. We got to court our women still, right? Even though they're in love with us, we can never stop doing the most for them. And you know, subscription can go a long way, bro. I'm telling you, man. I'm trying to take my girl out to Cactus Club every Wednesday on Scott Road. That's just the truth. Unbelievable. Trevor, what are you getting your girl for Valentine's Day? I know she doesn't listen to the show, so tell us.
Ooh, that's a good question. Like
Man.
nothing. Like definitely like some flowers, probably some chocolates, and I think we'll probably go to dinner on the weekend. Probably not on the Wednesday.
Okay, are you the like pick your own flowers type of man? Like, are you just buying the pre-made bouquets?
Oh no, I buy the pre-made bouquets.
Oh,
Man, I got a couple shots. I go to White Rock. But pick your own flowers. What am I, a florist, man? Come on.
Yeah, no. Like go to the florist and like pick the individual. And dude, come on, man.
Dude, you're an unbelievable romantic, man. That is
of
something
course
else.
I gotta be, man. My girlfriend's hot. Okay. Anyways, let's get to the comments.
What are you saying, Kyle?
Your wife is hot. What? Whoa. I just said your wife's hot. Okay. Anyways, let's talk about the comments. Okay. Scott Road is gonna be litty after each game. JS, you are damn right. That is the truth. We had someone else here. Okay, Callum, what a comment. Okay, Callum Sandu earlier in the show says, "Yo, call up Bains. Let's get the samosas in the building." He's allowed to say that. Okay, it's a Callum Sandu. Okay, he's allowed to say that. And then he also says this. Okay, Bains is going to be this generation's Burrows. Talk about it, man. I like that one, bro.
Yeah, I think Bains has to, I'm not going to put any negativity on it. Arshdeep Bains next bros. Let's go, baby. Let's also talk about Thatcher Demko. And guess what I'm going to do to you, Kyle? Okay, you ready for it?
Trevor's trivia starts now.
Oh, man.
All right. Thatcher Demko, again, he tied Dan Cloutier's franchise record with a 9-game win streak. He actually is on the Canucks record books and a couple other places with a 7-game win streak in 2021-22 and a 6-game win streak from 2023-24. So aside from Demko and Cloutier, 6 other goaltenders in franchise history have had a win streak of 6 games or longer. Can you name those other 6 goalies?
Luongo?
Yeah.
Like he's only had one of those? Like he only counts
for one? Most of the guys have done 6 games or more multiple times, but just name the goalies. They're most
Luongo, Richard Brodeur.
Nope.
Kirk McLean.
Yep.
Okay. How many goalies are from the 2000s though? Like, did we already mention all of them? Luongo, Demko.
Like most of them. There's one you're not going to get, but most of them.
Markstrom.
Yeah.
Alex Auld.
No, come on, man. Go bigger than Auld.
Who's your goalies, man? Oh, Ryan Miller.
Yeah.
Who? You know what? On this note, I was about to say Braden Holtby. Yo, Jim Benning sucks, man. How does Jim Benning say, okay, peace out, Tana, peace out, Markstrom, peace peace out all these guys. We got to do something else with our money. And then it's like, yo, we got to sign Braden Holtby to a 2-year deal. You remember that?
Unbelievable, man. Yeah, could have signed Pettersson long term if it wasn't for that and a number of
No,
others.
Pettersson is an RFA this season when the Canucks have opened up their cup window only because the Canucks chose Braden Holtby and Jake Virtanen over signing Pettersson first. Trevor, finish off the trivia, okay? I give up. Come on, man. You pissed me off, bro.
Yeah, so there's 8 goalies in franchise history that have had a win streak of 6 games or longer. Cloutier and Demko, I mentioned. Kyle, you mentioned the other 4, which were Luongo, Miller, McLean, and Markstrom. The 2 you were missing, Corey Schneider.
Yeah, okay.
He did it on multiple occasions. He did it 3 times. He had a win streak of 7 and 2 of 6. And then the one you wouldn't have gotten was Gary Suitcase Smith. He hit a 6-game win streak during the 1974-75 season. So anyways, quick shout out to Demko. Kyle said on last night's show that he was the MVP, or should I say the beauty.
He was the beauty. He was the beauty. He was the reason, man. He was the reason. Like, bro, again, the Canucks are not a perfect team. You know what I'm saying? Things are going to happen. And now we're going to be, we always play good teams. Like, that's going to happen throughout an 82-game season. But the standards are different. The expectations are different. We got to win these games as well. And I think it's something like yesterday and the events of the third period that give me peace of mind when spitting out this notion that the Canucks are going to have a magical season. We're going to win the Stanley Cup because, you know, we're stacked and we have the best third line in hockey and our defense is playing better and we may be getting some more help, right? In a couple of weeks, you never know. And then it kind of falls on the negligent side of me not thinking about Demko and DeSmith as much as I should be, because a lot of teams, like 95% of the teams, don't have goaltending like that. It's we're lucky, man. Go Canucks, go, man. Go Canucks, go. Okay, let's read the comments before we get out of here. We're at the 30-minute mark. We have this commenter, SM9215 Van, saying the Canucks ain't going to Surrey. Okay, sure. Why not, man? Okay. How about this scenario? Okay. How about this? The Stanley Cup may be going to Surrey, right? Let's see. Arshdeep Bains gets called up this season, like Trevor said, right? And he's irreplaceable, aka someone you can't send down because he makes an immediate impact, right? He doesn't get sent down. He gets his name on that cup, and then he brings it to Bear Creek Park and Newton Wave Pool and Guilford Town Center and Surrey Central. Could you imagine? How about the Wings on 72nd? Bro, unreal. We had Ryan comment this as well, and I want your intelligence on this, okay? This is a good hockey question before we get out of here. Do you see, like, Miller and Besser playing together the whole season? Like, do you ever see a different version of the top 6? You brought up the fact that Rick Tocchet may, hit the blender, being this ahead in the standings. Do you ever see, like, a different version of, not the Lotto line, but a Lindholm, Pettersson, Besser thing? Like, talk on that.
I mean, I thought it was possible coming into this season. I think it's less possible now. I think Tocchet really likes his duos. I think Miller and Besser have been consistent, which, again, I've fully admitted I didn't see coming into this season because they weren't great last year when they were together. I think it'll take probably a quiet stretch if the Canucks, play mediocre for a stretch of games. They don't necessarily have to have a losing streak, but if they're mediocre for a stretch of games, I think you can pull the trigger. But until that happens, Miller and Besser aren't going anywhere as a duo. I got to get out of here, Kyle. So again, a shout out to the listeners, the everydayers, the occasional listeners, the first time listeners, the new subscribers, and those of you who joined us here on the YouTube live stream. We love each and every one of you, your family, and your dogs too. On tomorrow's episode, we're going to preview the 2024 Stanley Cup Finals rematch between the Boston Bruins and the Vancouver Canucks. I'm kidding, sort of, maybe. Or am I kidding? I don't know. Find out on tomorrow's episode of Locked On Canucks. Kyle, I got anything to say to the people before we get out of here?
No, one love to this comment from UWU, okay? Surrey has some of the most loyal Canadian hockey fans in the greater Vancouver area. As a matter of fact, people from India have hockey in their DNA. And as an old white guy, I love these true Canadians. Bro, I'm going to cry, man. I'm going to cry. Then we have Sito saying the Curry from Surrey. I guess that's my new nickname, which is cool. Call me the Curry from Surrey, okay? He's saying the Curry from Surrey takes his girl to Cactus Club every Wednesday. Damn. Like, what? Am I supposed to cook her butter chicken every week? No, man. Yo, the other day I told my girl to cook me samosas. You know what she said? She said, I can't even say what she said, okay? Anyways, that was another episode of Locked On Canucks. Kyle Bowen, Trevor Beggs, and the people. Yes, you and you, and you and you, and you and you making this all possible. One love. Enjoy the sunshine. Peace.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks. Part of the Locked On